So,
But, excuse me, but I was waiting for the second, part of that. So what is the fallback position in the face of that is being recommended to us?
Fallback position to,
Were this not to work, we have just this small amount of $1 million to be worrying about.
yeah. Well, going back to that kind of equation, whatever our loss of revenues, whether it's from the economic condition or from the state, if we cannot make corresponding cuts or offsetting the revenues, whatever that net shortfall balance is what you would give us direction to do meet and confer about. And there are a variety of options. Quite frankly, the union may be able to come up with other ideas. And, we're certainly open to any ideas that, continue the mission of the county in terms of public service within the resources available to us. So I don't know what would come out of it. What we want out of this discussion is what is our target. And then you can give us additional direction in closed session, and then we see what happens.
I guess my concern here is to have $1 million as a kind of residual category when we talk about this shortfall. Mm-hmm. In other words, we don't know what's going to happen in that category. Is bothersome.
Right. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with the state cuts. We certainly know what. Yeah, we certainly. Your whole budget is nothing but a projection in the first place. And so in this case, we are projecting that we are going to get less revenues than what is currently budgeted based on the first couple months of this year, and we think it's prudent to take action now to address that projected shortfall.
Thank you.
Ms. CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to say that perhaps it's time to take some public testimony if the board is done with their comments, and then I'll have some concluding comments after the board sees fit.
You read my mind, Mr. Mitchell, and next item was to go to the public and ask for concerns, comments from the public. I'd ask you to step to the podium, state your name for the record, attempt to keep your comments as close as 3 minutes as possible on this budget item. So I'll call for public testimony on this. Any members of the public in the audience wishing to speak to this item? I do see one, I see two, yes. Please state your name for the record and
Anna Mahoney, retiree, sometime worker, extra help, but I'm really speaking personally now. We're all, and you all are, going to have a hard choice because we have to go back to basics. We don't have the revenue for this year for everything that we had originally budgeted for. That's obvious. And we are not going to have the same amount of money or the revenue that we need for next year. And it's going to take a lot of hard choices and a lot of balance between maintaining services wherever you can in effective and efficient ways, and at the same time coming in within budget. I don't relish seeing you all have to go through this. It's going to be very painful because I do believe that voluntary time off is insufficient, that mandatory time off is probably going to be required, that you're going to have to look at all your benefits, both employee health and in retiree health, and look at it seriously with some reductions coming up. And I think you're going to have to look at seriously the big L word. There may be some layoffs that you're going to have to look at too on non-mandatory mandated programming. I think that we in the county, all of us, citizens alike, along with you all, are just going to have to pull together and realize that some of the expectations that we've had in the past are not going to be realized, and that the reality is we're going to have to go back to basics. And I just want to say, to whatever extent I can as a citizen, help in kind of coming up with ideas or brainstorming or doing whatever I can to assist. I want to be there for you and for the county, because this county is a wonderful county. It does serve a lot of people here, and we'd like to still continue to serve people wherever they are and to whatever extent that we can. But there may be some options where we can do it at a different level, at a different scale. And those things I think both you all are looking at now, and staff has begun to really start to analyze what needs to happen. But you don't have, just like I have 28 seconds, you don't have much time, because January is around the corner, and really you only have 6 months to try and correct for this year and then to prepare for next. And I just wish you the best of luck, and call me if you can. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Mahoney. Please step forward to the podium, state your name for the record.
My name's Linda McClure, and I'm here representing Service Employees Union. First of all, I really encourage you to facilitate ways to get information from the county workers of how money can be saved. So far, management goes in rooms and closes doors, and everybody sits outside on pins and needles wondering what they're going to come out with. There really has not been a concerted effort to bring the workers of the county into the conversation, and I think they have some very good ideas. I think the VTO, it's been very successful elsewhere. I think it will help a lot. If it comes to meeting and conferring about MTO, I really encourage that be across the board. You might consider the board meeting less often, and that every department, including you and the clerk of the board's office, needs to be appropriately and proportionately cut with what the line staff is experiencing and very possibly could. Let's see, services to outlying areas, I think is an important point too, that by reducing services in the outlying area, closing offices, your travel expenses and the time that your staff is going to be spending driving, the liability that increases because of that, both time and fuel expenses. Reducing federal funding for these positions, that those services won't be used as much, as has already been touched on. But Supervisor Delbar, you talked about outside funding for enhancing early retirement, yet there's an objection to maintaining services that bring in outside funding too. So, there's